What's up everyone, it's Ojh and we're back at it again, and in this video I want to share with you the deck that I used to kill Onyxia. Probably a little bit of a hybrid, might be the same as somebody else's deck that's out there already, because there's a lot of these general Drakkisath decks which are very similar, some having Drake in there, some having Witch Doctor in there, Whelpegs. There's kind of different variations of it going around, but this is the deck that I used. In this video I'm just going to cover the deck itself, a little bit of the strategy. I'm not going to go into loads and loads of in-depth on the strategy because there are other guides that are out there, but then we're just going to look at my replay, talk through some of the things that I was thinking, some things I did well, some things that I didn't do very well, but essentially at the end of the day we got the job done, so this deck is good enough. So if we look at it, then we've got the general as the leader, we've got Pyromancer in there with the Pyroblast talent, who hits like an absolute truck and is amazing at taking out all sorts of things in this, be it gargoyles or grunts or necromancers. Now some people think that the Conflagrate, I think that's the one, talent is the best, which basically doubles the splash radius. Personally I like the Pyroblast talent, but as Whelpegs are due a nerf very shortly, and Whelpegs can come in really useful for taking out things like the Necromancer, that actually having the Pyromancer be able to hit the Necromancer's little skeletons and have that extra splash damage might well be better in the future, but in this run we use Pyroblast. Then we've got the Whelpegs in there with the Flame Burst talent, Shaman in there with the Earth Shield talent. We've got the Skeleton Party in there with the Ritual of Rhyme talent, so the Skeleton Party basically stay where you play them, which is really important for our kind of prep in phase 1 ahead of phase 2 and phase 3. Sneaky Bandits are in there just for the sole purpose of getting gold from the chests, so they've got the Lockpick talent on them. And finally the Witch Doctor, who for 2 gold in this is absolutely amazing. Got the Spirit War talent on this one, is incredible for a number of reasons. Firstly, we'll take out an entire wing of the Whelpegs for you, no problem at all. And secondly, in any of your kind of death ball big squad pushes that you put together, if the Witch Doctor is channeling onto everything, then everything within that party is going to get that immunity shield, which is just going to come in amazingly useful. As far as levels go for this, I'm slightly over leveled. Well, it's level 30, so we're not over leveled at all, but I'm slightly above what I believe are the minimum levels that you need for this. And the reason for that is because I had leveled certain minis, like my Whelpegs, like my Pyromancer, and then I was waiting for my Drakkisath to catch up, because he was at about level 23, 24, and that is not going to work at all. So I have seen this done with a level 25 Drakkisath. I think that's probably for players that are much better than I am, so I would recommend that your Drakkisath needs to be at least 26, 27 if you can. I think you can have a 24 or 25 Pyromancer, same with the Whelpegs, probably a 25 Shaman to be honest. Your Skeleton Party, probably around 23, 24 is an absolute minimum. The Sneaky Bandits, I think you can probably get away with them really being almost any level within reason, so you know, level 10 might not do it, but certainly something in the 20s should be alright. And then I think the Witch Doctor does the business at about 23, 24, so those are the sort of minimum levels that you'll be looking at across the deck. Let's have a quick look at the strategy and then we'll get into my gameplay. Right, so the Onyxia fight then is split into 3 phases. Phase 1 is from the beginning, and all you're going to be dealing with in that, in addition to the grunts that spawn, the gargoyles, the necromancers and that sort of stuff, the only extra things that you're going to deal with in that are the Whelpegs, and Whelpegs are going to spawn down the left channel and down the right channel here. Now you want to stay in phase 1 for as long as you can. Optimally, I think that if you get to around the 2-minute mark of normal time, so you can just kind of chill out in phase 1 for about 3.5 or 4 minutes or so before you push Onyxia to the kind of tipping point from phase 1 to phase 2, which I think is getting Onyxia down to 75%. So you don't need to put a massive push together to get that done. Just stay in phase 1 for as long as you can, because in phase 2 you'll still be dealing with the Whelpegs, but you're also going to have 4 earth elementals that spawn roughly one on the right here and one on the left. And then if we just move up the map a little bit, then I think the other one spawns just up here above the siege tower, and then one up here on the right. So you're also going to have to deal with earth elementals, so you don't want to bring that on too early, because you're only going to make it more difficult for yourself. And phase 3 that you want to look at going into phase 3 pretty much as the clock goes to overtime in this fight. Unlike all other fights in the game, the overtime is 2 minutes. So when the clock goes red into that overtime, you want to be kind of getting yourself into phase 3 at that point, because there are going to be 2 mini bosses that spawn, and they are beastly things. They take some killing, and they deal a pretty meaty bit of damage as well. So like I say, phase 1 for as long as you can, transition into phase 2 with about 2.5 minutes left on the clock, and then transition into phase 3 as you go into overtime. So the main point of phase 1 is going to be for you to take the 3 siege towers that are on screen there, and to get as many of the gold chest as you can, and to set up defensively for the later phases. And by defensively, what I mean is that if we go back to our home base here, is that you will be spawning with the extra gold that you've got, because with this deck you're going to have so much extra gold, is that you're going to be spawning your skeleton parties with the Ritual of Rime, basically 2 on the right hand side here and 2 on the left hand side. So they are going to protect your home base, so that in phase 2, when the earth elementals come walking down the right hand lane and down the left hand lane, that you won't even have to consider them. You won't have to even think that they have spawned. It's not going to matter at all, because they're just going to slowly walk to your base, and the skeleton party are just going to absolutely melt them. So you don't need to worry about that at all. For any extra gold that you've got, you may well play a skeleton party up here to kind of protect this tower. When you are placing your skeleton parties, don't place them too close to this gold chest, because you do want your bandits to get as many, you do want your bandits to get all of those with the lockpick talent, so that you'll be getting double gold from them. And finally, in phase 1, and you'll need to have this set up before the transition to phase 2 and the transition to phase 3, is that if you spawn Whelpegs in this area here, then they can help you reclaim these 2 towers. So very quickly then, the transition from phase 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3 is that Onyxia is going to do a big frontal breath thing, and pretty much everything above where I've got the cursor going across the screen there, so anything that's up in this zone here is going to die. The towers that you will have already claimed will go back into a kind of regeneration for the to be reclaimed by the enemy, and any of your minis that are up there will be dead. So if you've got Whelpegs that are sat here, then when that breath goes off, it will burst the eggs, but the whelps will spawn and will immediately start attacking this tower as it regenerates, to claim it back for yourself. And then once they've done with this one, that they will move to the right across here, and then they will start going to work on this right siege tower for you. So the aim of the game with phase 1 is purely about defensive setup. Well, first and foremost, it's about getting hold of the 3 siege towers. Secondly, it's about spending your excess gold on planning for phase 2 and phase 3 defensively. Now, the point of phase 2, or in phase 2, if you've done phase 1 correctly, you really won't notice much difference at all between phase 2 and phase 1, especially as far as your base is concerned, because the skeleton parties will be doing the business. Now, phase 3 is going to be a bit different, because when the 2 big big mini bosses, if that makes any sense. When the 2 mini bosses spawn, you are going to concentrate solely on killing the right mini boss and just ignore the left mini boss. So the way that we're going to do that, and you'll see in my strategy here, is that we're going to set up a big push from the right hand side of our base that is going to push up this right hand side here, kill the mini boss who's walking down the right hand side, and then we'll be able to support that push because we will have kept hold of this middle siege tower. We can keep adding minis from the right hand deployment box there to get a big old push going on, kill this right hand mini boss, reclaim this siege tower, and then go and kill Onyxia. As easy as that. Maybe not. The only thing that you might have to consider, or the extra thing to consider in phase 3, is that obviously this left-hand lieutenant, this mini-boss, will be walking down from this left siege tower, down into the middle, and then walking directly towards your base. So you may well have to stall this mini boss. I wouldn't worry about killing the left mini boss. You may just have to stall that mini boss whilst your big death ball push is working its way up the right hand side. And you'll see in this video clip that I get so excited, I'm so thrilled that I think that this kill is going to happen that I basically fall asleep on defending. So don't do what I did, but we get the job done with about 25 seconds to go, which is not bad. This is the run. Right, here we go then. So I don't know what your opening hand is going to be. I don't know what the AI is going to do. But for us, we're going to open with Sneaky Bandits to get the double gold from that chest. And then this initial push, you're looking for, with this deck, a Drakkisath up front, supported by a Pyromancer and Warcraft, and then a Shaman in there to do some healing. Now, you don't want to commit too much to this push, because if this push, the aim of this push is to take all 3 of the towers, so it'll go middle, then left, then walk around to the right, and then go to Onyxia. If you commit too much to this first push, they'll push Onyxia to phase 2 really early, and that's just going to give you a load of extra minis to deal with, and you just don't need it. Ojh&x doing a great job on the right. As I said earlier, we've got a little bit of gold in hand. We've got a good push going on there, so that's our first set of defensive skeleton party going down there to help with those later phases. So again, keeping an eye, always looking back. You're going to be wanting to get gold as quickly as you can. You're going to have so much gold in this, but you know, obviously you want to get as much gold as you can. Kobold coming down because there's so much gold that can be mined. We have lost our Pyromancer up front. I think the Pyromancer just sneaked in front of the Drakkisath, but that's no probs at all. Another set of skeletons coming down, so we've got 2 packs down by our home base now, so that defense for phase 2 is coming together, and I don't mind doing a little bit of defense to kind of stabilize the situation here. What I will say is those grunts hit like a truck, especially when they start ramping up. They really get going. So at this stage, we're in a good spot here. A set of Warcraft coming down, as I explained at the start of the video. A quick set of Sneaky Bandits coming down, because the last thing we want is a Kobold ruining our plan to get double gold on all of that. Pyromancer are going to take out the Necromancer, and again we'll keep on ticking over with Kobolds. We've got loads of gold in hand, so we can afford to put another set of skeletons down, so our kind of base defense is coming together pretty well. And as far as taking out the well pegs either side, we've got Pyromancer and we've got the Witch Doctor, who will do a decent job. Although you might, as I've just done there, want to put a Drakkisath down to protect your Pyromancer. Pyromancer, as I said, with the Pyroblast talent, for me, I prefer that. Does a really, really good job. So we are temporarily going to lose that tile, but no props at all. And then well pegs are going to come down and help us out with these grunts, which is going to be very much welcomed. And we should be able to deal with all of that reasonably straightforward. Yeah, that's good for us. So at this stage, we are just ticking over. We're probably looking for the clock to get down to about, like I say, about the 2-minute mark or something like that. You don't want to go much less than 2 minutes, so it's going to be a bit panicked for you. Wellpegs are going to come in and do a good job of that for us. Now, I know that Wellpegs are due a nerf, so they might not work as well. We'll have to see how effective they are after the nerf. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. So this is me setting up a push on the right hand side now, noting that there's about 2.5 minutes on the clock. So by the time we've cleared out this slot on the right, that we'll be in position to hopefully push Onyxia. Now I really wanted to play that Pyromancer on the right hand side to go with this push we've got going on, but I kind of need to defend that Gargoyle as well. Pyromancer doing a great job for us. More Whelpegs coming down to help with that Grunt. And now we're just looking. Now you might think I should have played the Pyromancer over on the right, or over on the left, sorry, but the Witch Doctor is just a much better option for clearing the Whelpegs. So if you can play a Witch Doctor early on one of the lanes, then you can cycle around to another Witch Doctor before they just immediately burst. So that is the pushing Onyxia to phase 2. We are a little bit behind time, probably be out by about 30 seconds or so. But as you can see, as I was saying before, that because we set up defensively with all of those Whelpegs, that when it's come to reclaiming those towers, it's done it for us. Played some Sneaky Bandits in the back, hoping that by the time they make their way forward, the chest will have respawned, which it may or may not have. And then if you do have gold in hand and you're not really sure where you want to spend it, or you've already got all your packs of defensive skeletons down, then don't be afraid of cycling a general Drakkisath in the back on the right, and then supporting and getting him up front. So as I've done there, I played the Witch Doctor while we're waiting for that tower. I played the Witch Doctor while we're waiting for the bandits to take the gold chest, sorry, and then played a Drakkisath up front. So we have lost the tower on the left, but again, this isn't the cleanest run. There are better ways of doing this. That Earth Elemental is going to get absolutely melted, as I said earlier, because we've set up defensively really strongly. We've got a big push going on the right. Like I say, we want to get to phase 3 by about the time overtime comes round. And I did say at the start that this wasn't the cleanest, the perfect run, but we do still get the job done. So to be quite honest, I don't care at this stage. So the push we're going to put together up front is we're going to get great Whelpeg value on the Spiderlings and the Necromancer. Witch Doctor's going to do a good job of putting a immunity bubble on everything for us, and then we're going to set up another defensive Drakkisath, because the point of this is it's always about preparing for the next phase. You need to get like ahead of it. So we've already got this push coming because we know now that there's going to be all sorts spawning. So you can see that the lieutenants, the mini bosses, are on the way down, and we've already got our next wave of attack on the way. We've got the Drakkisath that we played on the right, supported by the Shaman, the Pyromancer, and the Witch Doctor, and then we played a Drakkisath on that central meeting stone to join up. So now I've got 2 Drakkisaths, 2 Shamans, 2 Witch Doctors, and a Pyromancer in there, and that is going to help us in the long run. Now this left mini boss that's coming down the middle now, like I say, I can see we've got a big push going on. We've got a minute to go. Things are looking good. We've got a Witch Doctor that's going to deal with everything on the left. I've got a Drakkisath selected that I play, and then I don't really know what I was thinking, but I kind of stopped doing all of the good stuff. Some Whelpegs in the middle of all that would have been good, because that would have taken out the Necromancer and everything like that. But at this stage, I've decided, forget about it. We are going for it. So we've got so much tower health. We've taken barely any damage at all, and we've got a massive push incoming. And then I scroll, and then I notice we're taking a bit of damage, and I'm like, no, I think I've cocked it right up, and I pretty much almost did. But the size of the push we had on the right was enough to get the job done. That's how I did it. I hope this helps you. If it does, let me know in the comments. Give this a thumbs up. If you're not already, get yourself subscribed. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.